UFC 319 Dricus Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev is taking place this Saturday. And I think I'm a little bit late with my prediction video, but hey, I had other videos to make. So I don't know. I did some more research in that meantime. So I actually did a lot more tape study than I usually do for these prediction videos. So I think I hope it's going to be more accurate. Like a lot of these fights can age horribly. I can see a lot of these fights going one way or the other, but ultimately I'm going to be giving you guys every single prediction for this card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event. I'm so excited for this event because this card may not be absolutely stacked, but the main event is going to be an absolute treat to watch because we're going to watch two of the best middleweights on the planet right now fight. All right, that's all I can ask for. So without wasting any more time, let's jump right into the video. All right, so we're going to start off with Alibi Idris versus Joseph Morales. I have no idea who these guys are. I'm assuming these guys are the finalists for this season's TUF. I don't watch TUF, so I can't really tell you who's gonna win. I do know that this guy who doesn't even have a PNG over here, he's an undefeated Kazakhstani, and that's actually pretty impressive. So I don't know. I'll go with the undefeated Kazakhstani based on aura. All right. There's not any sort of technical breakdown. I swear I didn't watch any of their fights. So like if you actually gamble off my advice, then I'm just gonna say this. I'm not financially responsible, and you're a retard. So I'm gonna go with the undefeated Kazakhstani based on aura, but I don't really know. All right, now up next we got another Ultimate Fighter fight. This time we have two blank PNGs. Uh, now I have zero idea who either of these guys are. Uh, I'll just go with the Brazilian. Brazilians have better track record in the UFC. All right. Again, don't bet on this. I have no idea who either of these guys are. Yeah, I'm just only going with the Brazilian because the Brazilian there's like a lot of talent there. The banger between Karine Silver and Dion Barbosa. Now, I know who these girls are, unlike all the other guys below them. But I still didn't do any tape study for them because why the fuck would I do tape study for Karine Silva and Dion Barbosa? Alright, so here's what we're gonna do. I have the equivalent of a Korean dime over here. And we are going to flip this coin. All right. If it lands on the old man, I'm going to go with Karine Silva. If it lands on the 100 on the back, I'm going to go with Dion Barbosa. Sorry about that. All right. It landed heads. I'm going with Karine Silva. All right. There's no technical breakdown. Uh, if I get this wrong, do I care? Not really. I'm just going Karine Silva because the coin told me so. And I will say this though. I understand that Dion Barbosa is coming off a good win against Elise Ardeline, was it? Meanwhile, Karine Silva, she's coming off a loss against Viviane Araujo where she looked absolutely pathetic. But Karine Silva, prior to fighting Viviane Araujo, was like kind of a legitimate contender, I guess. Meanwhile, Dion Barbosa, there's a reason she's still not in the rankings. Like she has had a couple of losses. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Karine Silva to win this fight. It's probably gonna be 29-28 decision. All right. Now moving on, we got Bryan Battle versus Nursulton Ruziboev. Now I've been going back and forth between these two because I don't know. There's a lot of like questions and ifs, but the one actual question I have between these two is: will Nursulton Ruziboev knock out Bryan Battle in the first round? And ultimately, I don't think that's gonna happen. Bryan Battle's incredibly tough, and also if Nursulton Ruziboev doesn't get the knockout in the first round, like he is known for slowing down by a lot. Like this guy lost the later rounds to Dustin Stoltzfus. Like Dustin Stoltzfus in 2025. And Bryan Battle, yeah, he's coming off that robbery win against Randy Brown. But I don't know. I think Randy Brown's a lot better than Nursulton Ruziboev. I understand that Ruziboev is bigger than Randy Brown, but Randy Brown has a lot more varying techniques. Like he can actually hit to the body. He's not gonna throw retarded wheel kicks every few seconds. Ruziboev still has some nasty knockout power. So if anyone can put up Bryan Battle, I do think it could be Ruziboev. But I just don't see Ruziboev really being able to knock him out in the first round. And if you don't knock him out in the first round, Bryan Battle builds into his fight, and Ruziboev is going to slow down. Bryan Battle, he's going to start pressuring Ruziboev up against the fence. And it's not like Ruziboev is that strong of a 185er. Like, he's very big, but it's all in height. Like, he's 6'5" in the middleweight division, who cuts to welterweight at times. I don't think Ruziboy is really filling out his frame and due to all the weight cut and stuff. So I do think Bryan Battle can implement a similar game plan he had against Randy Brown, and also Ruziboyev, like his grappling technique is a lot worse. Like Randy Brown was able to kind of mitigate Bryan Battle in a way because he actually knows what he's doing on the ground a little bit. But I don't think Ruziboyev knows anything about ground game. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Bryan Battle. He'll probably get a late round finish. Like I'm saying a third round TKO. Maybe it goes to a decision, but I'm gonna go with Bryan Battle to win this fight. All right, now up next we got Edson Barbosa versus Drakkar Klose. Edson Barbosa at this point is incredibly cooked, right? He's coming off that brutal loss to Leroy Murphy, and he hasn't fought in like more than a year since that loss. But if there's an approachable matchup for Edson Barbosa right now, it's Drakkar Klose. Because Drakkar Klose, I don't think he's exceptional anywhere. I don't think he's really gonna take down Edson Barboza and just like use his frame and weight to bully him. I don't think Drakkar Close is all that phenomenal of a striker. Like Edson Barboza, yes, he's old as fuck. Yes, he's gonna slow down after the first round. Yes, he's not really looking all that good, like technically on the feet, like outside of his wheel kick. But I just don't really rate Drakkar close, right? Like I understand that he went to like a war with Beneil Dariush, right? In hindsight, going to a war with Beneil Dariush is a bad look because although Beneil Dariush is really good, like Beneil Dariush, like if you clip him once, good chance that you'll probably knock him out. Right, and the fact that Drakkar Close was able to land so many punches, but still wasn't able to knock out Neal Dariush. He just doesn't give me any confidence in his finishing potential against Edson Barbosa. Now, Edson Barbosa again, like although he's like 39 years old and hasn't fought in a year, I actually kind of rate that because he's given himself time to like heal up his wounds a little bit, and I don't know, maybe this pick is completely cooked, but I think Edson Barbosa skill wise is still better than Drakkar Close. So I'm gonna go with Edson Barbosa, crafty vet 29-28 decision. All right, now up next we got Chase Super versus Alexander Hernandez. Now Alexander Hernandez is better than Jim Miller. All right. But I think stylistically, Chase Super is the favorable fighter. Chase Super as a wizard on the ground, and he wasn't able to submit Jim Miller, but Jim Miller's ground game is actually really good. Now, Alexander Hernandez, the way he grapples, it's like a very short man, stocky man's grappling. Like, yeah, he's very good at defending the takedown. He's very good at shooting takedowns. He's very good at holding people down for top control. But he's not really good at all the jujitsu, like ins and out movements I do think that if Hernandez shoots a takedown on Chase Hooper, like Chase Hooper will twist him up like a pretzel, if not reverse position. And I do think this though, Hernandez, like, yeah, he might have an advantage on the feet, but I feel like Alexander Hernandez has been regressing on the feet. Like he was getting outstruck by Kurt Holleba, and I don't think Kurt Holleba is all that good. So I'm gonna go with Chase Hooper. He's also very uh, rangy and longer than Alexander Hernandez, so I don't think Chase Hooper's really gonna get into a firefight, which is how I see Alexander Hernandez winning. Chase Hooper is probably gonna keep distance, and if they're too close, then I expect Hooper to engage the grappling and try to get a submission. And I do think this is a easier stylistic matchup than Jim Miller because I don't think Hernandez has the jujitsu capabilities of surviving against Chase Hooper on the ground. So I'm gonna go with Chase Hooper by round two submission. All right, now up next we got Jessica Andrade versus Loopy Godinez. I'm gonna go with Jessica Andrade. I don't know. I don't really rate Loopy Godinez all that highly. Like she's had a lot of close split decisions. Like I don't really want to pick Jessica Andrade. She hasn't been looking all that good, but she's losing to flyweights, top ranked flyweights at that, like Natalia Silva, uh, Jasmine Jasuda Vicious. All right, now I can definitely see Loopy Godinez kind of winning a 29-28 decision, but I can also see Jessica Andrade like knocking Lupina Godinez out cold. Like I don't really see Loopy Godinez really shooting takedowns. Actually, no, I do, but I don't think she's gonna really have the success against a Jessica Andrade, who is pretty good at defending takedowns initially. She just is a fish out of water once she gets taken down. And also, Jessica Andrade will have advantages on the feet, even though she's like, what, 34 years old? Which isn't that old, but I don't know. She's just been in the game for a long time, so I just think of her as old. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Jessica Andrade. I can never see Loopy Godinez winning a 29-28 decision, but I'm gonna bank on Jessica Andrade to get a knockout. Like she hasn't had one in a few years, so I think now's the time that she gets one. Right now, up next we got Gerald Meershaert versus Michal Oleksiejczuk. I'm gonna go with Gerald Meershaert. Now, Gerald Meershaert and Michal Oleksiejczuk, I love both of these guys, but I don't really see Michal Oleksiejczuk being able to survive the ground game of Gerald Meerschaert. Now, granted, Gerald Meerschaert is a kind of a victim on the feet in the first round, and Michal Oleksiejczuk can just pressure up against Gerald Meerschaert and just beat him up. But I don't think Michal Oleksiejczuk's gonna put away Gerald Meerschaert in the first round. Like there are times where Meerschaert looks like a complete victim, but there's also times where like he doesn't get put away in the first round. I don't know, it's very weird, right? And if you let Gerald Meerschaert able to kind of build into the fight, I don't really see Oleksiejczuk having a chance. Like I don't know, Gerald Meerschaert, he submitted a lot of capable middleweights. And Michal Oleksiejczuk, he's known for having a deficiency in the ground game. So it's hard to say whether or not Michal Oleksiejczuk's improved his ground game that much right after joining the Fighting Nerds. But I'm expecting Gerald Meerschaert to dominate Michal Oleksiejczuk on the ground. And also, Michal Oleksiejczuk, he's not really a round one KO guy. Now, I understand he got one against Dricus Dumas, but more likely, Michal Oleksiejczuk is like kind of the marauder who like builds into the fight after taking a bunch of damage and then try to beat you up from there. So I'm gonna go with Gerald Meerschaert to win this fight. Probably like round three submission because we all know the GOAT Gerald Meerschaert. The third round is where everybody loses. Like Khamzat Chimaev might have lost in the third round against Gerald Meerschaert. All right, I'm just saying. Nah, I'm completely kidding, but you get the point. I'm gonna go with Gerald Meerschaert by submission. Right now, up next we got Bobby Green versus Carlos Diego Ferreira. Yeah, I'm not calling him, if you will. All right, Bobby Green. At this point, he's kind of cooked. He's got finished a lot of his fights recently. He got finished by Jalen Turner. He got finished by Paddy Pimblett. He got finished by Mauricio Rufy. It's kind of hard to really pick uh, Bobby Green in the year of 2025. Carlos Diego Ferreira, I understand he didn't look all that great against Grant Dawson. He looked pretty old, but Bobby Green isn't exactly a spring chicken out here. Like Bobby Green, like he's not gonna be coming out here with new techniques. We all know what Bobby Green is gonna try to do. He's just gonna try to look to box and with his hands down. He's like, "Come on, man! Holy shit, man! Like, chill out, man." I don't know. This is a terrible Bobby Green impression, but anyways. Carlos Diego Ferreira, I believe, has the more variety in his game. Even if he gets outstruck by Bobby Green, which I don't think will happen, but if he does, right, there's a chance. Uh, Carlos Diego Ferreira's jiu-jitsu is just nasty. Bobby Green, he is very much a victim on the ground once he gets taken down because I don't know, he's very prone to getting held down. And I think Carlos Diego Ferreira will be able to beat him up with a ground and pound TKO or submission. So I'm gonna go with Carlos Diego Ferreira to get like a round two submission. Round one, round two. I'm not exactly sure, but either way, I'm expecting Carlos Diego Ferreira to look good out there because although he's 41 years old, it's not that long ago since he fraud checked Mateusz Rebecki, and I thought Mateusz Rebecki was the next big thing. And meanwhile, Bobby Green, on the other hand, the only notable win he has is against Jim Miller, who's not really looking the best in his career right now. Uh, Tony Ferguson in the year of 2023, when Tony Ferguson lost like 5 fights prior to that. Yeah, other than that though, I don't really see Bobby Green really winning this fight. So, oh wait, no, he beat Grant Dawson. I still can't believe he beat Grant Dawson. All right, but anyways, I'm gonna go with Carlos Diego Ferreira to win this fight. All right, now up next we got Tim Elliott versus Kai Asakura. This one's a no-brainer. I'm gonna go with Kai Asakura. It's Tim Elliott in the year of 2025. Tim Elliott's like 39 years old. He hasn't fought in like almost 2 years. Why would I pick Tim Elliott in this situation when not only is he 39 years old, the UFC really want Kai Asakura to win this fight. Now, Kai Asakura, he did kind of show a deficiency in his grappling against Alexander Pantoja. That's Alexander Pantoja, right? Alexander Pantoja, prior to the grappling transitions, ate a flying knee against Kai Asakura. Is Tim Elliott gonna eat a flying knee to the chin from Kai Asakura? I don't think so. I think Tim Elliott is a lot more battle worn out than Alexander Pantoja. And also, I don't rate Tim Elliott's grappling nearly as highly as I do for Alexander Pantoja's. So I'm gonna go with Kai Asakura, probably get a round one or two knockout. Like maybe there's a chance that Tim Elliott looks good in the third round, but I don't think so. He hasn't fought in 2 years. All right, he's probably gonna look more rusty than ever. So I'm gonna go with Kai Asakura to win this fight pretty comfortably. All right, now up next we got Jared Cannonier versus Michael Venom Page. Now I'm rooting for Jared Cannonier, but I think Michael Venom Page is gonna pose a lot of stylistic problems. Right, like Michael Venom Page is so much faster than Jared Cannonier. Like I was watching through Jared Cannonier's last few fights, and he is slow. Like, he is very slow. Now, I understand that Jared Cannonier, he is pretty smart. Like, I do think he will come up with some things that might work against Michael Venom Page. But ultimately, what's going to happen is Michael Venom Page is just going to fight out way out in the distance. And Jared Cannonier is going to have a hard time trying to cross the void. And every time Jared Cannonier does, I can see Michael Venom Page, catching Jared Cannonier with something. Right? I don't think Michael Venom Page is gonna knock out Cannonier. Like middleweight Page doesn't really have the knockout potential, but I just see MVP being able to land more strikes in a very lackluster fight. So I'm gonna say that Michael Venom Page is probably gonna win this 29-28 decision. Maybe Cannonier has a round of success where he's like able to pressure Michael Venom Page up against the cage. But at the same time, I can also see Michael Venom Page just implementing his game and just blitzing in with a 1-2 and just catching Cannonier off guard. And outside of that, I just don't really see Cannonier being able to close the distance properly. So I'm gonna go with Michael Venom Page to win this fight. I hope Jared Cannonier wins, but I just think that Michael Venom Page stylistically poses a lot more problems. All right, now up next we got Geoff Neal versus Carlos Prates. I'm gonna go with Carlos Prates. I just think that all the physical advantages are towards Carlos Prates' favor. He's like taller. He has a longer reach. I do think he's a lot sharper of a boxer. Now, granted, Geoff Neal does have power in his hands, and he is like faster with unloading the hands. But like, I think accuracy wise, Carlos Prates is going to land the left hand more than Geoff Neal is. I think Carlos Prates, like, I know he lost to Ian Gary. Right, in hindsight, Ian Gary is actually really good, even though he's incredibly boring to watch. Ian Gary was able to overwhelm Carlos Prates with volume. And that's the thing. Is Geoff Neal going to overwhelm Carlos Prates with volume? No. Geoff Neal, we all know what he's going to do. He's going to go in with the gritty man's boxing and try to close the distance. Uh, or he's going to try to clinch you up against the fence. All right. He's not really going to come out there with like a 4 or 5 piece combination. There's no real trick to Geoff Neal because he's not really gonna throw with like a variety of shots. He's not gonna shoot any takedowns for Carlos Prates to really worry about. So I'm gonna go with Carlos Prates. I think he's gonna be in more of his element against Geoff Neal than what he's shown us against Ian Gary. Again, Carlos Prates, he's just gonna be able to knock out Geoff Neal towards like the second round. Right, the first round is probably gonna be a low output fight. Both guys are just trying to find their range, but I think Carlos Prates is gonna have an easier time trying to find his range and ultimately catch Geoff Neal with a nasty left hand or like a left kick. And I don't really see Geoff Neal really being able to find his distance in order to unleash the three man's boxing. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Carlos Prates. Round two TKO. Yeah, I think that's gonna be very likely. Geoff Neal could win this. I can see a role where Geoff Neal wins this, but I'm gonna bank on Carlos Prates because I think that's the more likely scenario. Right now, up next, we got Lerone Murphy versus Aaron Pico. I haven't done any tape footage study for this. All right, I'm just gonna go with Lerone Murphy. Aaron Pico, like he's just basically a industry plant being promoted by the UFC, and I don't think Aaron Pico is at the level of a Lerone Murphy. Now, Lerone Murphy, his fights are pretty boring to watch. Kind of what goes tit for tat with a lot of the top 10 fighters in the featherweight division, but he went tit for tat with a lot of the top 10 featherweight fighters in the division. And meanwhile, Aaron Pico, relatively unproven, not even a Bellator champion. He's lost to Bellator fighters. All right. I don't think Lerone Murphy's ever losing to Bellator level fighters. I think there's a huge gap in skill between Bellator and the UFC. And plus, how many times are we really gonna make the same mistake over and over again? We just saw Patchy Mix get absolutely torched by Mario Bautista. Why is Lerone Murphy an underdog against Aaron Pico? I will go with Lerone Murphy to win this fight. 29-28 decision, 30-27 decision, maybe even a finish because again, I don't think Aaron Pico's at the level of top ranked featherweight in the UFC. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Lerone Murphy to win this fight. Alright, now up next we got the main event. Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. Now, I have been trying to go back and forth between these two fighters, but ultimately I came to the conclusion that Dricus du Plessis is going to win. Now, Hamza Chimaev is incredibly good, and if he's going to win, it's going to be by round one sub, and this take is going to age horribly. But I don't think Hamza Chimaev is going to be able to put away Dricus in the first round. All right, I'm coming up with revolutionary stuff. It's not like you've heard this from every other favorite YouTuber you heard. All right, but ultimately, this is what's gonna happen. Khamzat Chimaev, like, yes, he's gonna take the back. All right, and he can choke out Dricus with a rear naked choke. But what if he doesn't? Like, he's not doing it to everybody. Like, okay, Gilbert Burns is one thing. Like, Gilbert Burns is a defensive wizard on the ground. He couldn't choke out Kamaru Usman on 11 days' notice. Like, Kamaru Usman, alright, sure, like, he's the former welterweight champion. Some might argue the second greatest welterweight of all time. But Kamaru Usman, his jiu-jitsu, I do not rate whatsoever. To the point where, like, Khamzat Chimaev can't put Usman away, right? Kamaru Usman's jiu-jitsu isn't anything special. I feel like Usman learned jiu-jitsu, like, kind of as he went through the UFC. So, it's kind of hard to say that Usman's really gonna show anything that, like, presents Chimaev a problem as to why he couldn't submit him in the first round. Now, I understand that Khamzat Chimaev, submitted Robert Whittaker right after fighting Kamaru Usman. I gotta say this, in hindsight, Robert Whittaker's small, right? I understand that Robert Whittaker was a 185er, but, like, he just looked like a welterweight next to Khamzat Chimaev. So I'm gonna say that Dricus du Plessis, he's gonna survive the first round, and by rounds 2, 3, and 4, I think it's gonna be turning towards Dricus's favor. Like, a lot of Khamzat Chimaev fans want to paint this narrative that Chimaev is like, I don't know, he has like elite cardio. Like, no. Like in the Gilbert Burns fight, which is the fight that they always point out, where like Chimaev won the third round. I watched the fight. And yeah, he did well towards the beginning of the third round, but at the end of the third round, Gilbert Burns flipped Chimaev with like multiple right hands, and it was Chimaev who's like backing off the pressure. So I don't really see Chimaev with like god tier level cardio, and even against the Usman fight, like he didn't really do anything towards like the second and third round. And sure, like he kind of traded in the pocket in the last 10 seconds, but like it was mixed in with like what 9 minutes of doing absolutely nothing. So I'm gonna say that Dricus du Plessis is gonna be able to TKO Hamza Chimaev in like the third or fourth round. All right, most likely DDP is gonna do some goofy shit. All right, but he's gonna clip something with Chimaev in the process as he's like throwing windmill punches with his eyes closed. And I don't think Khamzat Chimaev, like, he's not really gonna be prepared for like an actual like fourth round war, right? Like if that fight with Kamaru Usman went to the fourth or fifth round, like I think Kamaru Usman would have won that fight. All right, I'll be straight up. So yeah, I'm gonna say that Dricus du Plessis is gonna win this fight. This take can age horribly, but hey, I'm just gonna put it out there because I believe that's gonna happen. And if it doesn't, all right, who cares? All right, that's gonna be it for today's video. Leave a comment down below who you think is gonna win the main event between Dricus du Plessis and Hamza Chimaev. Right? Again, I can definitely see either fighter winning this. Right? I'm not gonna be fencing. So I'm gonna go with DDP. Right? At this point, if Hamza Chimaev fans want to say that is ridiculous for me to pick DDP, uh, I don't know. Just fuck off then. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, other than that though, leave a comment down below what other fights you guys are excited for, and like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.